So, you've got a Social Security disability hearing on the calendar, then you absolutely need to know about the 5-day rule. Now, I know it sounds like a deadline that can cause a ton of stress, but trust me, understanding it, and more importantly, its exceptions, is the key to making sure the judge sees the full, true story of your case. Just picture this for a second. Your hearing is just days away, and that one key piece of evidence, the new MRI, that specialist opinion you've been waiting for, it's late. It's a total nightmare scenario, right? But here's the thing. It doesn't have to sink your case. There's a clear strategy for handling this exact problem. And this whole challenge, well, it has a name, the 5-day rule. And yeah, while it sounds pretty simple on the surface, it can be a really significant hurdle. So let's dive in. We're going to break down exactly what this thing is and, maybe more importantly, why it even exists in the first place. Okay, so here's the rule in a nutshell. You have to either get your evidence submitted or, and this is super important, at a minimum, inform the judge about it at least 5 business days before your hearing. And yes, that's business days, so weekends and holidays don't count. That word inform is really the key. You don't always need to have the document in hand, but you absolutely have to let the court know it's on the way. I know what you're thinking. This sounds like just another piece of bureaucratic red tape, right? But there's actually a pretty solid reason for it. It's all about preventing something called trial by ambush, where one side just drops a huge stack of new evidence at the very last second. This rule makes sure that the judge and any experts at your hearing have a fair shot to review everything. Ultimately, it just leads to a more efficient and a more just process for everybody. Okay, so the rule is about fairness, we get that. But to really get why this matters so much in the real world, we gotta look at the impact it has. The stakes are incredibly high, and honestly, the root of the whole problem is the long, long wait just to get a hearing. Just let this number sink in for a second. It is not uncommon at all for people to wait more than a year to get in front of a judge. A full year. And that one single fact, it's the cause of almost every single problem we see with the 5-day rule. Right? Because in that year, or even longer, your health is not on pause. You end up seeing new specialists, you have new procedures, your condition changes. What this means is that the evidence from right before your hearing is often the most current and therefore the most critical description of your limitations. So late evidence isn't just common, it's practically a guarantee. So if we know late evidence is super common and super important, the big question is, how do we get it in front of the judge? This is where we pivot from the problem to the solution. You see, the Social Security Administration has actually built in some workarounds. We're going to walk through the 4 key exceptions that judges use all the time to admit late but crucial evidence. All right, these are your 4 strategic options. Think of them as get-out-of-jail-free cards. First, diligent attempts. This is when you can prove you did everything you were supposed to, but your doctor's office was just slow. You'll need proof, like call logs or fax confirmations. Second is unforeseeable circumstances. This is for emergencies, like a sudden trip to the ER right before the hearing. Third, SSA-Related Delay. So if Social Security's own doctor is late with a report, well, that's on them, not you. And finally, the big one, materiality. This just means the evidence is so important it could literally change the judge's final decision. We're talking about a report that spells out exactly why you can't sit or stand for long periods. If it's that crucial, a judge has a really good reason to let it in. Look, knowing the exceptions is one thing. That's reactive. But the real key to winning this game is being proactive. You want to build a plan so you don't have to rely on some last-minute argument. It's about controlling the process, not just reacting to it. So let's talk about what that plan looks like. And the best way to do that is with something called backward scheduling. It's pretty simple, actually. You just take your hearing date and work backward. So 3 weeks out, you're confirming your provider list is perfect. 2 weeks out, you're checking that all the requests have gone out. 10 days out, you're on the phone following up. And then, this is the crucial part, 7 days out, you're already telling the judge which records are still missing. This whole rhythm creates a paper trail, a proof of diligence, that makes any argument for an exception way, way stronger. Your whole evidence plan should be built on these 4 pillars. Think of it like this. First, precision requests. Don't just ask your doctor for everything. Ask for specific date ranges. You'll get results much faster. Next, redundant paths. This means you use every tool in the toolbox, patient portals, official requests, even subpoenas. Third, rolling notices. Keep that communication with the court going. Let the judge know what's still on its way. And finally, summaries. If you're waiting on a huge record, a simple 1-page summary from your doctor can be a really powerful placeholder. All right, we've thrown that word material around a few times. So what does it actually mean? It's simple, really. It's evidence that is likely to affect the final outcome of your case.
We're not talking about routine checkups here. We are talking about the big stuff: MRIs, notes on medication side effects, or those post-surgery restrictions. At the end of the day, material evidence is anything that directly helps a judge understand your limitations in a work environment.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot. The rule, the exceptions, the game plan. So let's boil this all down to the absolute must-know tactics and takeaways that you need to remember as you get closer to your hearing. All right, let's bust some myths right now because there's a lot of bad info out there. Myth number 1, late evidence is automatically thrown out. Fact, with solid proof of your diligence and its importance, it often gets in. Myth number 2, those printouts from your patient portal don't count. Fact, they are incredibly persuasive and can absolutely convince a judge to keep your record open. And myth number 3, a late report from an SSA doctor is your problem. Fact is, delays caused by the SSA itself are one of the strongest arguments you can make for letting evidence in late. So what can you do, like today, to take control of this process and help your own case? First off, tell your attorney about any new doctor or hospital visit the second it happens. Use those patient portals. They're your friend. Download your own records and results. Keep every single appointment card and after-visit summary. Report any medication changes because those side effects are critical evidence. And finally, document your own calls to providers. A simple log, date, time, who you talk to, is seriously powerful proof of your diligence.
So let's land the plane here. Look, the 5-day rule, it feels intimidating. I get it. But it is not a trap. The best way to think about it is as a framework for a fair hearing. With smart planning, proactive communication, you can absolutely navigate it. It's really about turning a potential obstacle into a structure that helps you present the strongest case possible, one that tells the complete, honest truth of your medical journey.